How did the U.S. kill the world's most dangerous terrorist? The story takes place in 2011. Several helicopters were rapidly heading toward Abbottabad, Pakistan. Inside the helicopters were 24 members of the U.S. Navy SEALs. The target was the man behind the September 11 attacks, Osama Bin Laden. The mission was so secretive that only the highest U.S. officials were aware of it. After 10 years of searching, they finally found the most wanted man in the world. The operation had 3 phases. First, entering the area without being detected. Second, infiltrating the compound. And third, either killing or capturing Bin Laden. But Bin Laden was extremely cautious, and his house was heavily guarded.
The compound was surrounded by 3.5-meter-high concrete walls topped with barbed wire. The main building had 3 floors, and the windows were blacked out. Balconies had guards and overhangs to block aerial surveillance. The Navy SEALs operated essentially in total darkness. After about 90 minutes of flying over the peaks of the Hindu Kush Mountains, they spotted the compound from a distance. They had to land in a way that no one would notice. But there was a major problem. Only a few minutes remained to reach the target. The White House deliberately withheld information from Pakistan for fear it would reach Bin Laden. If leaked, the SEALs might have been identified as hostile forces by Pakistan. Worse, less than 2 kilometers away was a fully armed Pakistani military academy. This plan had been crafted by some of the world's best tactical minds. The plan required flying at low altitude along specific routes to minimize radar detection. Upon arrival, one helicopter would hover over the roof, allowing troops to rappel down and ambush from above. Another helicopter would insert a team in front of the main building to attack from multiple directions, leaving no chance of escape.
3 other helicopters were on standby for support. While the troops are in the helicopters, President Obama monitored the mission from the White House. Despite 8 months of planning, one critical detail had been overlooked. The first helicopter lost control while hovering over the roof, crashing its nose into the compound. The second aircraft was damaged and partially destroyed. Seeing this, the pilot adjusted the route and carefully landed on the ground. Fortunately, none of the personnel were injured. The SEALs quietly reached the sensitive entry points. It was unclear whether the crash had alerted anyone inside. The main action was about to begin. Upon landing, it was evident the compound was designed so the residents had minimal need to leave.
3 operators breached the guest house and entered. They immediately saw a man armed with an AK-47. They reported via radio that the guest house was Pakistani. 3 people were killed, including Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, a trusted messenger of Bin Laden. Many former detainees had named him during interrogations. Once the CIA confirmed his identity, the trail led to this compound in Abbottabad and ultimately to Bin Laden. But the question remained, why did Bin Laden choose Pakistan to hide? With heavy U.S. presence in Afghanistan, staying there was very risky. Pakistan's proximity allowed relatively easy border crossings without attracting attention. It also kept him close to his group for communication.
On the ground, Phase 2 began, infiltrating the compound. The team at the south gate cautiously opened the door and entered. This area was where the families spent their free time. The first room was an ordinary living room with worn-out furniture, far from what one might expect in an upscale neighborhood. Opposite the kitchen was a room used as a classroom. Many children studied Arabic there. In the shadows, a man passed through the hallway, bent to peek through a doorway, and grabbed a weapon. He was neutralized. It was still unclear if anyone remained on the first floor, so the teams cleared each room. No one else was found. Now a strong metal door separated them from the second floor. It was so reinforced that ordinary explosives couldn't open it. High-grade explosives could work, but would make too much noise.
Instead, precision breaching charges were used, small but focused explosions that unlocked the door quietly. Still, a path forward had to be found. They reported via radio that the first floor was clear. The mission wasn't over. Reaching the second floor was extremely dangerous. 6 minutes remained to reach the target. The second SEAL team, having landed outside, reached the front of the compound. They ascended the stairs, facing a secured passage and door that had to be breached. After placing explosives and a controlled detonation, they carefully moved upstairs. At that moment, noises came from above.
A man in a white t-shirt lowered his head and was shot. He was Khalid bin Laden, a close associate of Osama. The SEALs saw the third-floor layout for the first time. Despite the lack of internet or phone, this was where the residents followed world events. The command center of the group had 3 rooms full of computers and storage devices. Each room contained computers, hard drives, and electronic storage equipment with operational plans. Bin Laden was clever and had devised communication methods nearly impossible for the CIA to trace. He avoided online messaging or direct electronic communication, relying instead on couriers and handwritten notes.
First, if long-distance messages were needed, he stored them on a flash drive and sent them with a courier. This offline method had risks. Physical storage could be found. The SEALs had now discovered this cache, a potentially major source of intelligence. First, all rooms had to be cleared before moving to the third floor, the final phase of the mission. 10 years earlier, bin Laden had been trapped in Tora Bora, northern Afghanistan, surrounded by thousands of fighters under continuous bombardment. He escaped via tunnels or with local help. The SEAL team couldn't allow this to happen again. This was their only chance. Failure could mean losing the opportunity forever. The SEALs moved silently, closely together up to the third floor. Complete darkness prevailed. Even night vision gave limited visibility. They waited cautiously for any movement. Suddenly, a brief light crossed their eyes. Shots were fired, and the team advanced rapidly.
5 seconds to the target. Upon entering, they saw 2 of bin Laden's wives, shocked and frozen. Several children cried in the corner. In front of them, a tall man with a scattered beard lay on the ground. They had found him. The target was killed. The operation wasn't entirely over. Another senior member might replace him. Data from the second floor, hard drives, and records could expose the organization and its future plans. Suddenly, a worried voice came over the SEAL's radio. A nearby Pakistani ace ordered immediate mobilization, realizing something was happening. Time was critical. The mission was complete. The SEALs quickly placed bin Laden's body in a bag. They had to return it for DNA testing. The team was confident it was him, though not 100% confirmed.
Meanwhile, few verified photos of bin Laden existed. The most famous was from 1997. Meanwhile, the second-floor team collected all available intelligence before Pakistani forces arrived. Everything from hard drives to laptops and phones was secured. Final checks were conducted to ensure nothing was left behind. Before leaving, the crashed helicopter was destroyed so that technology wouldn't fall into enemy hands. When the backup helicopter arrived, the team was ready to exit. None of the SEALs were injured. This made the operation one of the most precise and successful missions. Obama announced bin Laden's death while the burial took place. To prevent his grave from becoming a shrine, no tomb was constructed. The body was wrapped in a white shroud, placed in a heavy bag, and buried at sea. The hard drives found contained about 7,000 documents, which took years to analyze. The compound. This intelligence helped map his group's structure and future plans. Around 3 a.m. in Pakistan, military commanders received the operation details. Nearby forces only arrived after the SEALs had left. In the following days and weeks, the compound was visited repeatedly by Pakistani intelligence, locals, journalists, and adventurers. 9 months after the operation, local authorities demolished the compound to prevent it becoming a shrine. Today, only a concrete foundation remains.